Welcome to the International English Language Testing System conducted by Maulik English Academy. This is Pushpita. Today I am your examiner and the examiner code is S32024035 and the candidate code is S22023077. Before starting the main part, I will ask you some personal questions. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
May I see your identification card?
Yes, sure.
Thank you. Can you please tell me your full name?
My full name is Mehajaban Sania here, but you can call me here.
Okay. Yeah. Where do you come from?
Well, I was born and raised in Dhaka.
Okay. Are you studying or working?
Well, I'm a student of grade 8 in Manipur Uच्च Vidyalaya College, short for MUBC.
What do you do in your free time?
Well, in my free time, I really like to draw, and besides drawing, I really like to write things.
Okay. What is your favorite hobby?
Well, my favorite hobby is writing different types of novels and fan fictions.
What is your favorite subject?
Well, my favorite subject is English because I really think that English will help me in future.
Okay, that's all. Now let's move on to the main part. In this part, I will ask you some questions about food and cooking. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. What kinds of food do you like to eat?
I'm a Bangladeshi, so of course I will like Bangladeshi foods, and among them, I really like the spicy foods. For example, beef curry or different types of fish curries, fish fries, etc. And besides Bangladeshi spicy foods, I really like the Korean and Japanese spicy foods. For Korean spicy foods, I really like the instant noodles that is real spicy. And besides all the spicy foods, I really like the sweets from our country that is made with milk. So that's it.
Okay. What kind of new food would you like to try?
Well, I have tried a lot of foods from online shops, or you can say restaurants. But besides trying the foods, I will really love to try the different types of country foods. For example, the Chinese candied fruit called tanghulu. Then I would like to try the Korean corn dog that is very trendy these days. And if I ever get to try that, I will be really grateful. And after that, I will like to the Korean kimchi because it is really healthy. I heard that, so that's why I like to try them.
Okay. Do you like cooking?
Yes, I really love cooking because cooking helps me to try different types of things and different types of recipes. And when I cook that, my family really likes it, and even the guests come and I cook snacks for them. That's the reason why I really love cooking.
Okay. What is the last meal you cooked?
Well, the last meal that I cooked was the small hot pot that I made with my sister. My sister and I made this with different types of vegetables and, of course, instant noodles. And we had the egg, chicken, and etc. After trying the hot pot, my sister cooked a pancake, not ordinary pancake. It was Japanese pancake that is really soft. That my sister got the idea from YouTube, and it was really tasty. That even my all of my family members praised her for cooking that meal.
Okay. Do you prefer home cooked food or food from restaurants?
Well, I definitely prefer the home cooked because it is really nutritious, that help our body, and it is really low costy because when you buy foods from restaurant, it can cost you a lot, and it gives you a small amount of food, and uh, you cannot be sure that whether you are taking the food is healthy or not. And while taking the home cooked food, we can be sure that we are taking the healthiest food, and it is really good for our health.
Okay, this is the end of the part 1. Now let's move on to part 2. In this part, I will give you a topic. You have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about the topic and 1 minute to think about what you are going to say. If you want to make some notes, here is the paper, pen, and here's the topic. Okay. Your time is up now. You can start speaking.
Well, my hobby that I'm really interested in is writing. I really like to write different types of books or novels because this skill helps me to know different types of vocabularies, and uh, I was interested in this hobby when I was in grade 4 or 5 when the COVID started and we were all locked down in our home. So I had to attend the online classes. In this class, I didn't get much interested because it was kind of like boring. A teacher wasn't doing much, and that time I tried a new app called Wattpad that provides different types of stories and writing. That moment I started reading a book called The Trade. It was good at first, but I didn't know what kind of vocabularies they used and literary terms. I was confused at first, then I tried to understand. When I was in grade 6, I almost understood all the meanings behind the book. That moment I was astonished that how come people be this creative. They even turned the main original idea into a fan fiction without even making us realize that that was the fan fiction. That moment I became determined that I want to write something about this, and at first it wasn't really good, my handwritings or anything, but when I continued my writing, my writing skills got really good, and I learned a lot of literary terms that helps us write different types of stories, dramas, fan fiction, etc. And I have been doing this for like 4 or 5 years, and I really think that this hobby gives me a lot of benefits. For example, my handwriting is improved by this, and I know a lot of vocabularies that can help me to communicate with people, and that's the reason why I think that having this hobby is good for me.
Okay, this is the end of part 2. Now let's move on to the part 1 of part 3. In this part, I will ask you some questions about the social benefits of hobbies.
Okay.
So the first question is, do you think having a hobby is good for people's social life?
Yes, I do think that having a hobby is good for people's social life because uh, if you give an example about a person like teacher, he does a lot of works and they go through a very busy life that they don't get the much time to spend on their own. But if they have a hobby, they can spend that time on that can help them ease their mind and help them feel peaceful, and they can be really peaceful minded and they can do their works and concentrate on it. That's the reason why I think that they should have
Okay.
hobby.
Are there any negative effects of a person spending too much time on their hobby?
Yes, I think that spending too much time on their hobby is not a good effect because if a person spends too much time on the hobby, they cannot uh, spend the time on the daily routine that they need to do. And if that I give an example about teacher, if the teacher spends too much time on their hobby, they cannot concentrate on their teaching and teaching the students. And if the person spends too much time on their hobby, they become really peaceful minded that can lead them to it a little bit problem, and that's why I think.
Okay. Why do you think people need to have an interest or hobby?
Because I think that because people are really busy these days and the technology is developing a lot, and people are if I talk about the children are really addicted to the phones and they do not spend time on their hobby. I think that they should have a hobby at least to spend time on it and spend less time on the smartphones, because using smartphones cannot help you to understand way too much knowledge, and it is not too good for the children to use smartphones at a young age. They can get into trouble while seeing things, or they can get different types of physical problems. That's the reason why I think they should at least have one hobby to spend time on it.
Okay, that's the end of the part 1 of part 3. Now let's move on to the part 2 of part 3. In this part, I'll ask you some questions about leisure time.
Okay.
So, in your country, how much time do people spend on work and how much time on leisure?
Well, our country is really busy with jobs, but from the last few years, the works has reduced a little because the technologies are developing. That's why people get a little bit, even if a little, they get the time to spend their time on leisure. For example, my father is a very busy person that he only gets 2 weekends to spend time with us, and he spend this leisure time with us while traveling to different types of places, and that makes us happy, and my father feels a little bit less pressured with his works.
Okay, would you say the amount of free time has changed much in the last 50 years?
Yes, I really think that the amount of free time has become more in last 50 years, because you see that how much the technology is developing and how much people are knowledgeable, and they do not need to do all the paperwork. They do not need to write too much thing on their papers and make too much documents. They need to just write in the computer or type the important emails and send it to the people, and that's why people get a lot of free time in on their own to spend time with their families, or you can say spend time with himself to reduce his pressure if he ever feels pressure. And I think that having this amount of free time is good for yourself, and I'm hoping that in future people will get a lot more free time than in present.
Okay. Do you think people will have more or less free time in the future?
Yes, I really think that people have more and less free time in future, because uh, I already said that the technology is developing. I will definitely say more than one time. Well, you see that technology developing too fast that people can even make a robot or any type of machines that can help us reduce the work that people did in past times. If I talk about our mother, who does all the house chores by herself, now having machines can help them cook, and having them clean the house, and it can also do a lot of household chores that reduce all the pressure of our mother, and she can spend time with ourselves, and she can spend time with her child. And it is really good because spending time with her child can help the child develop a lot of feelings that can help them. And if having this amount of free time also helps the people to feel less pressured, like a normal busy person does, and in future I hope that it will come true.
Okay, this is the end of part 2 of part 3 and the end of the speaking test. Thank you so much for your time.
You're most welcome.